Hello and welcome to Levant TV headlines. The United States bombed Islamic State-controlled oil refineries in Syria as President Barack Obama recruited more allies to fight the jihadist network of death. British Prime Minister David Cameron said that Iran could be part of the solution in defeating jihadists in Syria after he held landmark talks with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Saad Al Faisal has pledged to provide any counter-terrorism support that Lebanon requests, saying the kingdom would do its best to eliminate the Islamic State. Egyptian courts have sentenced nearly 100 people to prison for up to 25 years after finding them guilty of violence during protests in support of ousted Islamist President Mohamed Morsi. And Cypriot emergency services have launched a rescue mission for about 300 people thought to be Syrian refugees on a boat stricken in rough seas. Now let's take a look at top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. Starting with the Egypt Independent, which leads reporting that Norhan Hefsi, wife of the activist Ahmed Douma, has said that the forensic medicine department refused to give her a copy of the medical report of her husband after the recent medical examination carried out on him without giving any justification. The paper also reports that Cairo Criminal Court has decided to issue a verdict against 68 suspects involved in riots in Azbak-Kaya district during the 6th October War victory celebrations on 30th September. From the UAE, the Khalij Times reports that US President Barack Obama called on the world to join the US-led coalition to defeat militants in Iraq and Syria, branding them terrorists engaged in a network of death. The paper also reports that in another massive narcotics haul at sea, which should concern law enforcement agencies in the region, 5,588 kilograms of hashish worth $248 million was recovered from a traditional boat in the regional waters off the coast of Somalia. From Lebanon, the Daily Star reports that the Lebanese army has killed one man and wounded two others accused of trying to set fire to a Syrian refugee site in the northeastern Lebanon border region of Arsal as troops stepped up their crackdown on Islamist militants. The paper also reports that a meeting joining Lebanon's top religious figures representing Christian and Muslim communities was launched at Dar al-Fatwa. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines from the UK papers. The Independent leads its Middle East news reporting that an Egyptian policeman has been accused of sexually assaulting a mentally ill woman while she was being detained. The paper says the alleged attack took place at the police station in Giza in August, and the accused has now been referred to the criminal court by Egypt's prosecutor general. The Guardian leads its Middle East news reporting that more than £193 million has been pledged to support Syrian children affected by the conflict as part of a UN-led initiative to alleviate the impact of the crisis on young people. The paper says the announcement made on the fringes of the UN General Assembly doubles the amount already raised for the initiative, which is calling for $885 million to fund education and child protection services in Syria and host countries this year. And the Telegraph reports that Saudi Arabia has offered a royal seal of approval to the US-led fight against the Islamic State group, sending Prince Khalid bin Salman on bombing runs over Syria. The paper adds that there were also unconfirmed reports that the UAE's first female pilot, Major Mariam al-Mansouri, took part in her own kingdom's military action. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines in international papers. From the United States, the Washington Post leads its Middle East news reporting that the US military and two Arab allies bombarded a dozen small-scale oil refineries in eastern Syria as part of an expanding campaign to cut off key sources of financing and fuel for the Islamic State. And finally, Germany's Deutsche Welle reports that British Prime Minister David Cameron has met with Iran's president, the first such talk since the 1979 revolution. Cameron later told UN General Assembly Iran could be part of the solution in the Syria crisis. And for more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Bye for now.